American men, we need to learn another language ASAP, dead serious, no mammas. We definitely need to learn another language. I don't understand how in this country, the country of the United States of America, Spanish is the second most spoken language. I think third is Mandarin or Chinese. And most Americans only speak one language. It's insane how close in proximity we are to these other cultures. We're not learning anything from them except the negative aspects of their behavior. We're gonna talk about a little bit of that in this video, but honestly, I'm gonna be here to talk to you about and to try to persuade you to learn another language. Gentlemen, like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna get into it now, right? Sombra del Piso here. For the people that are new to the channel, I'm not one of those idiots that don't really practice what they preach. Generally, we talk about men's mental health. I practice that. Generally, I talk about good diets for men. I practice that as well. So I'm going to prove to you how many languages I understand right now, right? Let's start with English. Hello, my name is Sombra del Piso. Espanol, which I am pretty proficient in. Hola, me llamo Sombra del Piso. El título de mi canal de YouTube es Sombra del Piso, el mismo de mi amo, ya tú sabes, right? Ya vive en otro país por 3 meses y ya aprendí el idioma muy rápido porque estaba viendo y escuchando de toda la gente caminando alrededor de mí, hablando el idioma, right? Spanish. French. Bonsoir, je suis Sombra del Piso et je compare un peu le français, mais je suis un homme, I guess, right? I'm going to translate that for you. Portuguese. Bom dia, eu falo pouco português, eu praticando, eu preciso praticar más. I think that's how you say it. Chinese. Ni hao li, ni homa. Idagosi, which is like police station. Albanian, Pershandetje, Falebenderet, Mirage. Albanian I'm still working on, but we're getting there. The point is, guys, we need to learn more languages, dead serious. America is not getting better anytime soon. Right. Okay, we have a new president. Sure, they've been implementing a lot of heavy, stringent edicts to try to sort of change or take us from this rut that we've been in for the past couple of years. Honestly, the change that we definitely need to have begins with ourselves. We need to do reconnaissance on other countries that we are interested in going to and learn the language to be able to integrate and live in those cultures, right? Why is it that it's important to learn another language as not just a man, but as an individual? I'll talk to you from my personal experience. I'll give you a little anecdote. 3 years ago, I could not tell you that right now I'd be knowing Spanish or I'd be even interested in learning a new language. I had a want and a curiosity to travel, to explore, just because, you know, I'm perpetually dissatisfied, which is the normal state of a very intrepid fellow, right? That's a topic for another video. And I think a lot of you guys should have that personality trait as well, trying to understand more about not just your domestic environment or your country, but somewhere else. Just because there's a prevalence of political issues that are happening in a specific area does not mean that it necessarily needs to be your world. You can travel somewhere else and try to understand what's going on over there, integrate with that culture, and learn more about yourself in the process. So what happened was I went to go visit, 3 years ago, I went to go visit my mom in Portugal. She lives there now. I went to go visit my dad in England. I used to live in England for a year and change. I had a whole bunch of friends there. I did A-levels in England, right? Unknown fact about me. And I decided to go to a country that I've never been before, and I decided to go to Colombia just because I looked on YouTube. I saw a lot of people having fun, enjoying themselves over there, and I realized that I've never put myself in an environment, because I looked at Colombia, there was a lot of warnings about Colombia, talking about how unsafe it may be. You have to be on your P's and Q's and whatnot, and I figured, okay, growing up in New York, it can't be that much different in terms of having a little bit of street smarts in order to identify and isolate issues from within your midst, right, within your vicinity. So I went to Colombia. I barely knew Spanish. I didn't know any vocabulary words. I would say, yo, ¿cómo estás? Someone would say, okay, estoy bien, ¿y tú, y usted? And I was just like, okay, no te entiendo, like, ¿qué estás haciendo? Or diciendo, I don't know, I don't understand you, I don't know what you're saying. But then the more I explored the culture, instead of doing what Colombia is generally known for, I took my time getting to know people, right? I spoke the language. I tried to speak the language. I was getting corrected. I was asking a lot of questions. I was being wrong. I was getting humiliated because, you know, I was in public trying to speak a sentence that I didn't know. And, you know, I was getting corrected, you know, all that kind of stuff. And 3 months later, I got to a conversational level of Spanish, and I feel incredibly proud of it. I'm not even done. I am going to, this year, we're doing a completely different thing, and I'm trying to learn an even better, not a better language, but a new language, right? And I think that for us men, not only that learning another language will allow you to communicate with another culture, which is very, very important. I think that's understated, but it will allow you to think a little more broadly. It was a study shown that people that know 2 or more languages are a bit more analytical, a bit more intelligent. They're able to exercise a lot more self-control. Naturally, that comes with higher intelligence for the most part, right? The more you devote yourself to a language, the more you understand a lot about yourself. And I'm not saying, okay, it's not impossible to do it through other means, but I'm just saying it's effective for me. There's a lot of various language learning tools out there that could help you learn a different language, right? There's Duolingo. Duolingo, to be honest, I don't think it helped me out because only with vocabulary words. For languages, how I tackle them is I try to understand the rules of the sentence structure, the syntax, right? You got to understand the grammar. At least for Spanish, how I learned Spanish, you know, you realize that you have to put the, I think, adjective of the subject or the noun after the goddamn noun, which is completely contrast to what we learn here in English. And I think they do that in French. They do that in Portuguese as well, because they're all Latin-based languages. We are Latin-based as well. We're a combination of a whole bunch of other cultures, languages, but we're just strange like that, right? So how I learned Spanish is that I used Duolingo to learn some vocabulary words because there was a lot of specific nouns I didn't know. But I also made a huge effort to understand the rules. So how to do that, right? I'm in New York. I also have the privilege of being in one of the most, or probably the most multicultural city in the world. Queens is the most multicultural area in the world, second to or first after London, right? You can go to Brooklyn, a London part in Brooklyn. You'll be in Eastern Europe. You could talk to people that are from Russia, from Ukraine, Georgia, Lithuania, Romania, all those things. You can go uptown to Washington Heights. You can talk to las personas de la República Dominicana, las personas de México, las personas de Colombia. De verdad. You could also go to Queens. You could talk to people like from Guatemala, all those various cultures. You can go to various places in Astoria, talk to people from Greece, Macedonia. I have the gift of being in the most multicultural city in the world. So whatever language I choose to learn, all you have to do is just go to that place in the area in New York City and learn that language. Seriously, just immerse yourself in the culture and try your best to ask questions and learn the language. The thing is, a lot of us may not have that opportunity, and because that is the situation, or that may be the situation for you, I suggest doing reconnaissance on a place, on our country that's speaking a language that is of your personal interest. For example, right, if you are interested in learning Georgian, for example, I suggest, and I'm not talking about Georgia in the United States, I'm talking about Georgia in Eastern Europe, the transcontinental. People like to say that Georgia is not an Eastern European country. It's a transcontinental country, for sure. It's at the far end of Eastern Europe and the left of Asia. Okay, whatever, but it still counts as Eastern Europe, technically. I suggest going to finding out a lot that you can about Georgia. Go on YouTube, connect with a lot of content creators that are in Georgia. Try to reach out to them via email. Ask them for tips on how to learn the language. Also, do your own personal research. Go type on Google on places to go to Georgia that is a little safe to check out, right? Just off the top of my head, there's Kazbeki, which is up north in Georgia. It's a little cold. If you guys are fond of the cold, I'm not. But it's a place that exists that I've never been to, so I have an interest to checking it out. There's also Tbilisi, which is the capital of Georgia. That's generally where you would like to go if you're gonna go visit a country for the first time. There's also Batumi, which is down south. It's very, very hot. It's a coastal town of Georgia. Very, very cool. Try to find out places that pique your interest about Georgia and try to see if you can do some reconnaissance over there. Go take a vacation. Stop spending your money, right, men, on silly things like overpriced coffee, dates which are not going anywhere in the United States, right? Or excessive cars and things that you don't need. Stop drinking for once. Cocktails are $20, right, a pop here in New York City. I don't drink. I've been sober for 11 years. I don't do any of that silly stuff, smoking, doing drugs, because there's a whole bunch of peer-backed studies that say that that stuff is harmful for the body. And you don't even need to do that in order to figure that out. Or you don't even need to read peer-backed studies in order to figure that out. But you know, for some people, they need to see it red before actually doing anything, right? What I'm saying is save your money. If you're going out every Friday, right? Say for a month has 4 weeks. You're going out every Friday. You buy 3 cocktails. Each cocktail is $60. That means you are spending $240 a month just on cocktails. If you save that money for 3 months, you will have, what's that, $480, $720. That's definitely a ticket, round trip to Georgia and back. If you continue to compartmentalize saving money in certain aspects that you don't of your life that you don't necessarily need to indulge in, then you can find money to spend for Airbnb, find money to spend for activities, various activities. Try to find out what's the general cost of recreational activities over in Georgia, for this arbitrary example, and save money. Go over there, do some reconnaissance. Guys, America is not it. We already know that. We are waxing and waning in the system. A lot of us are really suffering on the low. Like, a lot of us are suffering from male loneliness. A lot of us are suffering from substance abuse. A lot of us are not finishing colleges, all that kind of stuff. I understand that a lot of us are ambitionless because, you know, of just the way things are in America. That is not a reason for you to give up on yourself completely. Try to learn something. Try to be better for yourself. Try to learn another language, learn another culture, and go over there, do some reconnaissance, and get your life kick-started again. Seriously, I'm telling you, the Colombia trip in 2022, just to bring in a personal anecdote, that's the trip that changed my life. I traveled myriad times before. I didn't explain it on the channel. I went all over France, right? I did Paris, I did Lyon, Bordeaux, Saint-Maxime, Nice. I did Genève, right? Which is the border of France and Switzerland. I also did London. I did Cambridge. I did Oxford. I stayed in Hertfordshire, which is north of London. I did college there. I did Portugal. I did Germany. I did Australia. I traveled to various places. The thing is, it was only until I went to a culture that is completely different from the United States where I sort of learned about what I can do to unlock my life. Colombia changed my life in way more ways than one. Not only everyone there is just way more friendly, but learning Spanish was easy. I'm not gonna lie. And I think that when you immerse yourself in a culture, right, where everyone's speaking and acting a certain way, you are naturally going to understand and interpret and learn to communicate in those ways. It is just natural. Guys, we need to get up off of ourselves, get up off of that thing, right? Learn a new language. Find out. I don't know if everyone has the luxury or the curse of living in New York City, right, where you have access to a lot of different cultures all around the goddamn city that you can immerse yourself in the culture of which, and then sort of pick up little bits of the language. But if not, if you live like in, like, say, South Carolina, and you want to go to Albania, look on YouTube about videos of Albania. Try to find out the staples of the language. Look at the rules. When you find out the foundations, you could do whatever you want with the goddamn language. Then do a Google flight estimate of what the round trip price of the ticket would be like to Tirana, which is like the capital of Albania, for example, right? Find out what you can do in Tirana, right? Get a list of activities done. Practice by yourself. See if you could reach out to some content creators that are in Albania that know the language, right? That you can maybe, you know, bounce off some ideas from, and make a plan to go to that country, gather some reconnaissance, and get the heck back to the United States and plan your life in that country in the future permanently. It's not hard. I'm telling you guys, it's not hard. I'm doing it myself, not necessarily for the aforementioned countries, Albania and Georgia, but I'm definitely trying to leave the United States just because this is not the place to be. And I am, and learning a language is going to serve as an inspiration for you guys to do many, many things. So let's get up, gentlemen, men, American men, and let's learn another language. Stop wasting your money on useless things like dating and buying alcohol and buying cigarettes and drugs in order to forget about what's going on in this place, because it's not going to help, honestly. And then you're going to look back at your life a decade later and try to wonder where all the time went. And you're going to be old, and your knees are not going to work because you're drinking and you're smoking, destroying the body, right? Naturally. And with that being said, that is all I have to say about learning another language today, guys. If you guys enjoyed that kind of content, like, comment, subscribe, share the video with some peers. Listen, don't ever let this place get you down, guys. We are in a time where it's incredibly difficult, right, in terms of being a very ambitious, self-motivated young man, young gentleman in this world. There are a lot of things that people are going to try to push down your throat, pause, about what you should do with your life. And a lot of it is really centered in the places that you guys are in. right? The place that you were born in. The internet space allows access and connection to a lot of different people, cultures, ways of life, ways of thinking like never before. We need to utilize this new frontier, this new Ersatz Library of Alexandria, and get access to a lot of this information that could help us make a change and make a migration to a different life. We have a lot of abilities, a lot of latent abilities lie within you guys. Seriously, you have no idea what you're capable of. Try to find out what that is now. It doesn't cost a thing to reach out to other people, seriously, and try to learn their cultures and learn their ways. Stay radiant, my friends. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Woo!